What's up, DFS players? We are going to be going through the best player props for today, so we're going to be looking at PrizePicks. So overall, we've been on a pretty good streak. Yesterday we split, though. We lost. We had Austin Slater over half of a base and Landeskog over 2.5 shots on goal, which cashed. So a little bit rough the last 2 days, but let's get back into it today. And we'll start out with a quick recap of PrizePicks. How does this daily fantasy sports platform work? And essentially, the way that PrizePicks works is quite fascinating because any two-pick entry, any two player props you put together, it doesn't matter if you take the overs or the unders, they're just going to be giving you plus 200 odds. 20 to win 60, which means 20 to win 40 in profit plus your $20 stake back. That's just plus 200 odds for, whatever two picks we select. Doesn't matter if we take overs or unders. Now, this is shockingly different than sportsbooks, right? Because sportsbooks will vary the payout of a bet depending on if you take the over or the under. Like, for example, on FanDuel, we can get Martin Perez over 4.5 strikeouts at plus 130. We can get Perez under 4.5 strikeouts at minus 168. So the sportsbooks are heavily juicing Perez under 4.5 strikeouts, and this is across the entire betting market, which means that sportsbooks think the under is much more likely to cash than the over, right? If I bet $100 on FanDuel on Perez over 4.5 strikeouts, I'd be betting 100 to win 130 in profit on this MLB prop bet. If I bet $100 at minus 168 odds, right, I'd be betting like $100 to win like 65 or whatever in profit. So 130 to 65, right? There's massive differences in the odds, and sportsbooks are heavily juicing the under because they think it's more likely to hit, right? Sportsbooks vary payouts depending on, if they think a bet is likely to hit, right? If something's very favored and the sportsbooks think it's very likely to win, then they give you worse odds, right? Minus 200, whatever. But that's completely different on PrizePicks, right? On PrizePicks, it doesn't matter. Any two picks you select, you're getting the exact same price. You're getting the exact same implied odds because, again, they're not varying your payout depending on what two picks you select. You're always just getting plus 200 odds. So essentially, we've gone through the math before, but because you're getting plus 200 odds for any two-player prop pick entry on PrizePicks, you need to win 1/3 of your entries, right, to break even. You're up 200 if you win one, and your stake is $100. So you'd be up 200, then you can lose 2, lose 100, and you break even, right? So if you're winning your PrizePicks entries 35% of the time, you're going to be super profitable. If you're winning your PrizePicks entries 30% of the time for two-player prop pick entries, you're going to be super unprofitable. So long story short, because you have to be winning each two-pick entry 1/3 of the time to break even, you have to be winning each player prop in your two-pick entry 57.74% of the time, which is implied odds of minus 137, right? So if we just go to an odds converter calculator, if 57.74% is the break-even win rate on PrizePicks, that's an implied price of minus 137. So essentially, as you'll see on OddsJam, any player prop on PrizePicks, regardless of if you're selecting the over or the under, is just going to be minus 137 odds because that's what PrizePicks is giving you the implied price of because you have to be winning 57.74% of your props to break even. So long story short, we're looking for player props that hit at a rate above 57.74%. Right? We want player props hitting 60% of the time, 59% of the time, because that will make us profitable over the course of the long run on PrizePicks. That's how you find sharp player prop bets on PrizePicks. If you're hitting your props at a clip of 54%, you're going to be super unprofitable. So long story short, you can use the OddsJam Positive EV betting tool, which typically shows you profitable sports bets on sportsbooks, like Max Muncy over 1.5 bases. We can take a look at the odds for this. This will just show you true pricing discrepancies, right? Sharp, mathematically profitable bets. So we can see here, right? FanDuel's the only sportsbook giving us plus money. Most sportsbooks have this favored, right? Pinnacle, the sharpest sportsbook out there, they're pricing Max Muncy over 1.5 bases as the favored bet at minus 126. We can pick that up at plus 100 on FanDuel, so that's an example of a great bet. Now, you can also use this, though, to find sharp, profitable DFS picks. So here we can see on the bottom row, 2.59% profit margin, we have Perez under 4.5 strikeouts, right? So if we take a look at the odds, again, sportsbooks are pricing the under as heavily favored, right? Just looking at the betting market, it's very clear because PrizePicks isn't changing our payout depending on if we're selecting the over or the under. We definitely want to go with Perez under in our PrizePicks entry, right? So what we can do is the two picks I wanted to go with are Gaussman. Where is he? So I wanted Gaussman over 5.5 strikeouts for the same reason, but long story short, this tool will just show you profitable player prop bets, right, on PrizePicks or on sportsbooks. And here we can see, here's an example of a great under that we want to be on PrizePicks. All the sportsbooks have the under heavily juiced, which means the under is more likely to hit. So we can take the market on Pinnacle. So they're pricing this. We can put this into a no vig fair odds calculator. Again, what this calculator does for you, super cool, is it will take the sportsbooks market and remove the juice, remove the vig to show you what the sportsbooks think that the true line or the true odds for a bet are. So given the fact that, Pinnacle, the sharpest sportsbook in the world, they're pricing Perez under 4.5 strikeouts at -175 and the over at +129, right? We can essentially use their market to figure out what do they think the true odds are for Perez under 4.5 strikeouts and Perez over 4.5 strikeouts. So long story short, we can see that Pinnacle is implying a 59.3% win rate for Perez under 4.5 strikeouts. That beats this break-even win probability on PrizePicks of 57.74%, right? We want to be winning our PrizePicks player props over 57.74% of the time to be profitable. In this one, according to the betting market, the odds on the sharpest, most efficient bookmaker, which takes millions and millions of dollars in bets, right? A much more efficient betting market than PrizePicks. This bet is hitting at a clip of 59.3%. So it's profitable to include in our PrizePicks entry. And again, we just got it from the OddsJam Positive EV tool, which is constantly scanning sportsbooks and these DFS companies to try to show you these bets, these player props that actually have a mathematical edge in your favor. So again, long story short, you want to use OddsJam to look for big line discrepancies on PrizePicks. When sportsbooks are heavily juicing an over or the under, that's because they think they're much more likely to hit, right? So you can use a no vig fair odds calculator to determine, using real-time odds from the sharpest bookmaker, Pinnacle, how likely do you think that player prop is to hit, right? No vig fair odds calculator. I recommend you read this a few times. It's a really important calculator. So long story short, we're following that strategy. I have two picks, Perez under 4.5, right from the OddsJam Positive EV page, and then for similar reasons, Gaussman over 5.5 strikeouts. So we'll go ahead, we'll lock it in for $100. I'm sure I'll have more player props today on PrizePicks. I'll try to share them with you, and I really hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks so much for your time.